Hi, it's Karen Gilbert from Simply Said with Karen. I'm a Canadian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I have a card for you today, and I'm going to be using the Brusho crystal colors. The card is a stepped up card from one that I did a few days ago and did a video on. It uses the waterfront stamp set from the new 2018 Occasions catalog. This is the one that I did a video on a few days ago, and today this is what I'm going to do, and it's going to be stepped up. It kind of looks like sunset, and I'm going to mix the Brusho crystal colors to get that effect, and we'll see how it goes. You never know when you're using Brusho. There's lots of different effects that can take place. So let's get started. I'm using a panel of watercolor paper, and this is 4.5 by 3 inches. And I'm going to stamp the mountains in fresh fake, and the foreground I'm going to stamp in Flirty Flamingo with a touch of Tranquil Tide, and the water will be Pool Party. And then I'm going to do a mixture of the Brusho crystals to give the sunset effect. So let's get started and see what happens. First of all, I'm going to stamp the mountains in fresh fake, and I'm going to stamp about halfway down. And I'm going to stamp off so that these mountains appear to be in the background. Now we're on to the foreground, and this is Flirty Flamingo ink. This looks as though the sun is casting a shadow or the colors onto maybe it's the rocks below. I'm going to stamp that, another row of that. I'm going to bring in the Tranquil Tide, and I'm going to use this stamp that resembles, I'm not sure what, but it looks like it could be part of the landscape, and we'll do it about, actually I'm going to turn this stamp around. I'm going to give it a third one. Now it's the water's turn. I'm going to use Pool Party for that. Ink it up. And do another stamp here, and then one off to the other side. So you just get some differences in the coloring and the shading of the water. Okay, I'm going to put the sun a part of the ways behind the mountain, and I'm going to use a mask. And I'm using crushed curry for that. And then it's the trees, and I'm going to use garden green for the trees. Now it's time to start doing some watercoloring and shading on here. First of all, I'm going to finish off the water. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit of the Pool Party into my lid, And using my aqua painter brush, squeeze a little bit of water in there and just start shading in the bottom. So now we're going to start using the Brusho colors. The Brusho colors come in a pack of 5, and they are in the 2018 Occasions catalog, and they're on page 38 of the catalog, and you get 5 different colors in the set, and they are Brilliant Red, Gamboge, which is an orange, Moss Green, Prussian Blue, and Yellow. You can also use these in your scrapbooking because they are acid free. Instead of sprinkling the color on and then spritzing it, I'm going to use one of the blocks so I can control the color, and I cut out a little circle that's 3/4 of an inch, and I did it out of window sheet so that it stays off the sun and the mountains. So we're going to start with a bit of orange, which is the Gamboge. So we just sprinkle it on the block and mix it with a bit of water, and then it's just a matter of starting to paint. And every time you do this, you're going to get a different look depending on how much or how little water you use. The more water you use with these pots, the lighter it becomes. Now I want to add in a bit of orange, or red, sorry. So I'm just going to shake that on there. And that is probably too red, or maybe it's okay. And then just shade a little bit more. And there's no precise way to do this. It's however you want it to look. Now I have to mix a color because I want it to be kind of purpley. And I'm going to mix blue and orange. We'll see what color we get from that. Clean my paintbrush off a bit. This is the Aqua Painter, and it has a barrel that you can add your water in here so that you can control your water a little bit. So that's too blue. I'm going to add some red. It looks brown, and you just keep playing with it until you get it how you want to look. So I'm adding some more red. When you use the Brusho, you just poke 3 holes in the top so you don't have to unscrew the lid, because it makes a mess if you were to spill it. It's very fine and it'll go everywhere. So let's see how this works. So I'm going to try a little bit of the yellow and see what happens. So like I said, it's just experimenting and having fun to see what you get. And I think I'm adding a little bit more red. And I'm just going to take a cloth and blot that to get rid of some of the moisture. There, that's pretty good. Just clean up my workspace here a bit so we don't get the color all over everything. Just put the Brusho crystals aside so I don't tip them over like I could. And now I'm going to remove my mask here. And I see it got on the mountains, so I'm going to bring my mountain stamp back in here, and that's the beauty of these clear stamps. Looks okay. Looks like the sun is just casting its color down onto the mountain. So finally, I'm going to stamp the sentiment on here, and this is from the Amazing You stamp set, the Celebrate here. Now you can purchase a stamp on Celebration if you have a $60 Canadian product order. This will be your item that you can earn. So I'm just going to bring the fresh fig in here and stamp my sentiment on the bottom. Oopsie. What have we got here? Got a shadow. I can't seem to fix it. So I'm going to get a piece of Whisper White and stamp the sentiment on it, and it'll be just perfect, and then we can put the card together. So I just took a piece of 2 5/8 by 7/8 of an inch piece of Whisper White and stamped the Celebrate on, and that will cover it, and I might even trim it a little bit more. I trimmed this down to 7/8 by 2 1/8. We might as well show it off, so I'm going to do some sponging on the edges with fresh fig. Sometimes we always have oopses, and what we do to fix it is various things. There. Now it's time to put our card together. This time I have a piece of Whisper White thick, and it is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and it's, or 8 1/2, sorry, and scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of rich razzleberry, and it's cut 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. I'll put these measurements on my blog, and we're going to attach it to the front of the card. Sometimes I like to have color on it, but I don't want to make the whole card with the color because I like it white on the inside. I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue. Now I have a piece of the Painted with Love Specialty Designer Series paper. This is really nice paper. One side has the gold foil on it, and the other side is just plain with the colors, and they just look like they've been watercolored with brush strokes, so it goes perfectly with this card. I'm going to put crushed curry as a panel under my art piece here. Sometimes when you're using water with your inks, the cardstock gets a bit warped. So I'm just going to tuck some glue dots down under there to make sure it sticks. I'm going to put this is crushed curry baker's twine, just to add an embellishment or to jazz it up a bit, and I'm going to wrap it twice. So this is 32 inches long, and I want it to make sure it sticks really well. So I'm going to put a glue dot behind where I'm going to tie a little bow. finally, we get to put our art piece on, and I'm going to put it on straight up and down so that just some of that designer series paper is showing through or around it. Finally, I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of our sentiment here. I'm going to stick it right there over top of my boo-boo. And there, it's done. It is different. Here's the one that I originally did. So no matter how many times you make the same card using the same colors, inks, you're going to get something different. I hope you give this a try with the Brusho crystals, and you can always catch me on my blog at www.simplysaidwithkaren.com. I will leave that as well below the video. So just check back often, and we'll see you again later. Thanks for joining me. Bye.